Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Gerry, joined today by Paulinho. Paul is here to talk about one of his favorite subjects, and I'm just gonna go ahead and jump on this now. There's a lot of possibilities out there, a lot of voices saying they're in the know, the ITK, and as Paul and I can attest, the true ITK is the unicorn. All right, we haven't seen a lot of unicorns talking about our manager situation. We'll see, but for now, we'll assess the fact that some people are saying Moyes is poised, and that this is gonna probably happen. So, Paul, I'm gonna throw you for a loop here, and say I would like for you to talk about the good aspects of possibly appointing David Moyes manager of Everton, at least for the rest of the season.
I think the home form will pick up. Definitely, because I think Moyes will... I know the supporters don't want him back, and the atmosphere at the games might be a bit moody, but I really do think Moyes will get the home form sorted out, because Moyes' record at Everton previously was really good at Goodison. All the big games he won were at Goodison. He didn't win big away. And his style of football, playing the percentages kind of up and at him, I think fans will respond to that. So I don't see us losing many games at home if Moyes were to return. That's one positive. The second, I'm not too. I don't know if this is a positive or not. It's up for debate. I think he'd bring some people back to the club who a lot of people would be happy to see. Maybe not myself, but I think he would kind of give positions to people who get the club. He'll bring, he'll bring Osman back. He'll probably give Cahill some kind of important role, whereas another manager probably may not. He could have Duncan as his assistant, because the assistant he had previously, Steve Round, isn't available anymore. He's somewhere else now, so he's going to have to pick a number two, and Duncan makes a lot of sense as a number two, whereas a new manager might not want that. So that's a second positive, maybe, if people want to look at it that way. I think he would put certain people in certain positions, and that would a lot of fans would approve of. They'd like to see Cahill sitting on the bench, given a coaching role. They might like to see Osman kind of out of the pundit studio and back at the club in some capacity. So that's a second positive. And other than that, I'm struggling to be honest. I think if Moyes were to come back, we get to 40 points by February, March. You know what I mean? We'd finish in the top half under Moyes. Whereas if we'd have stuck with Silva, or if we stick with Duncan, I don't think that's a given at all. Whereas I think Moyes would probably get us in the top half.
You bring up some stuff I didn't even consider. The obvious thing that everybody always says is he knows Everton. He knows the Everton way of doing things. The fact is, as opposed to some of the more higher profile managers out there, sometimes we bring some of these managers like Koeman. He thought he was bigger than the job. All right? Never really liked his attitude or his approach to managing Everton. He didn't really seem thankful, grateful, didn't seem lucky to be doing it. He was just kind of like, whatever. And I feel like Moyes wouldn't take it for granted. I think that's important. However, he's not the only one who wouldn't take it for granted. But we're talking about Moyes now, so anyway. I do think he would keep things fairly simple. And I think it's interesting. The more success that Duncan Ferguson has, I almost wonder if that's more argument to bring in Moyes. You know what I mean? Because it's sort of a passion, keeping things simple type of football. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I have to imagine like Kinwright saying, see what's working for him? See what's working for Duncan? You bring in Moyes and you just have somebody who's been there even more than him, and it's even better. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I feel like I can hear the conversation.
I can hear it.
And so yeah, there's there are some good things about Moyes coming in. To be totally fair to him, the job he did at West Ham, not bad.
Yeah, I said that. I said that on the last time I was on that. I don't believe that Moyes is this washed-up loser that everyone says he is, and he needs to just go to some terrible league that no one pays attention to because he can't get a job anywhere else. I think Moyes proved at West Ham that he's still got something to offer to the right club in the right circumstances, because he's very, very close to falling into that bracket that Allardyce has made a career in, of the firefighter. And I don't think Moyes wants that. I don't think Moyes wants to be seen as a firefighter, because that's what he was at West Ham. That's probably what he's going to be at Everton if he comes back. And I think Moyes is a proud guy. He doesn't want to be this guy who goes to a club, is there for 6 months, and then gets his money and leaves. I think he still wants to build something. He still believes in having a project. So if Moyes were to come back and he's only offered a 6-month deal, I'm not sure he would take that unless it's been mentioned, unless certain clauses were added that if he manages if he gets over a certain points threshold or he finishes above a certain position, that he automatically gets to stay. I think that's something that he will want unless he's offered a long-term deal straight away. Right,
and that was my assumption, and that's my understanding, that if it were to happen, there would be performance-based incentives, contract stuff. That's an official term, contract stuff. I don't know, man. So we've kind of gone through possible good. Let's just, without getting really vitriolic, which, I feel like some people do get the venom pumping through their veins when they talk about this. Just stated very plainly, maybe why not? Why should we not appoint Moyes? I'll let Paul go, and then I'm assuming he's going to list everything that I have here, but we'll see.
One of the big reasons I don't want Moyes back, and it kind of goes against what you mentioned earlier on, when you said that if he was to come back, he'd really be humbled and he would say all the right things. I think he would be, to start with, but I think as time goes on, he would change, because that's what he did last time. David Moyes is a guy who, even after he left Everton, he doesn't like having his methods or his way of thinking challenged, type thing. He is very, very stubborn, and if someone tells him that they don't like something or they ask him to explain his thinking, then he gets a bit narky. Do you remember what happened at Sunderland when a female journalist kind of asked him a cheeky question?
I don't.
I mean, it was overblown. He said it in jest, type thing, but it got him in a lot of trouble. This side of the pond. When he was the manager of Sunderland during that season, he was asked a bit of a cheeky question by a female reporter on like Match of the Day or something.
Yeah.
And when the cameras stopped, when the interview ended, there was still like a camera rolling, and this footage kind of leaked out on social media, and that's what caused the problem. Mm-hmm. He said to the female journalist, she asked him something about, does he expect to still be in his job if he loses a certain game coming up? Yeah. They basically said and he said. And he did say it in jest, to be fair. He wasn't serious, but it's still not something you really say in jest. He said, "You're lucky that you didn't get a smack for saying that," which kind of shows that he doesn't like he doesn't like having to justify himself. And there were a lot of times at Everton, especially in the later years, where if he was to do something and fans got annoyed, he would act like the fans didn't have no right to criticise him. Yeah. So I think, all these substitutions, like taking off a striker when we're away in the cup and bringing on Johnny Heitinger, that was a memorable one. And even though Heitinger went on to score the winner from a set piece, it was very much like the fans were very angry on the day when they're like, why is he taking off a forward? Why is he breaking for a defender when this is a game we want to win? Yeah. And they made their feelings clear in the game, and he did not like it at all. You could see like a physical reaction on him, and when he's could be a bit narky with journalists as well, during press conferences when they ask him to explain certain things. It was kind of, he gave off this attitude of, I'm the manager, I can do what I want, and you have got no right to tell me I'm wrong.
So,
do you know what I mean?
So you think
doesn't like
that if
justifying
things went
himself.
downhill, you think, especially if it was quick, he would be quick to kind of flip and be like, "Look, you have no right. You have no right to." You know what I mean?
Not necessarily. I think if things were just plodding along on an even keel, like not too bad, not too good, and let's say a big game was coming up, and they said, or let's say Moise Keane isn't playing. Let's say he's playing to plod along, and Moise Keane is not getting a look in anywhere because I don't think he will. That's another negative. And it's put to him: the fans want to see Moise Keane? Are you going to give Moise Keane any more game time? He would just kind of brush the question off as if like, "What a goal! That's a stupid question." Maybe I'm not explaining it well, but Moyes
you are.
Yeah.
I think I may be jumping to thinking it would be worse than maybe you're saying it would be. You know what I mean? You immediately jump to like that. It's kind of like almost a Jose Mourinho type of a snark, like a very cynical like, well, let the fans manage the club then. You know what I mean? Like like they're not the manager, I am. You know?
The way a lot of occasions like that during his like the last time he was here, there were times where he really pissed off the fans by acting a certain way and explaining himself in a certain way that fans felt was just very, very arrogant. He wouldn't do that straight away, but I think to begin with he would be, as you said, he'd be very humble. I'm glad to be back. I want to pick up where I left off. But as things plod along, and let's say he does somehow end up staying for the long term, but once we go and let's say we're a year down the line and he's been back a while and things are not progressing, I think there's a chance that would sneak in again, and that would really, really annoy the fans, and the fans are annoyed enough. Do you know what I mean? It's pouring salt on an ulcer.
Explaining yourself over and over can be exhausting for anyone.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? But if you're a manager, it seems like a big part of that is it's sort of expected. You know what I mean? Like it comes with the job. It's almost like it's almost like being a parent. You're gonna have to explain stuff to the kid. It's gonna have to happen sometimes. They're gonna question what you do, and if you just sit there and say, "Because I'm the parent, that's why," if you just say that, then you almost they grow up thinking they're not allowed to ask why, ever, and that's not good for the development. So it's not the greatest thing. You sort of want a kid to ask why sometimes. It's how you get natural curiosity. And we've got a pretty knowledgeable fan base. And so they're going to ask why. It's going to happen.
I know it works both ways. I know our supporters can be very quick to fly off the handle over little things and can be very difficult to please. But there are times when I feel fans are entitled to kind of not be happy with certain things, and I just can't shake that feeling of when Moyes was here last time. Whenever fans weren't happy about something, he would not try and make the situation better. He would kind of just dig his heels in and be stubborn, and act and have that kind of air about him. Where, as you said, I'm the manager. If what I say goes, so, and not what I say goes because what I do is proven to work. It's just the way. It's just what I want to do.
Yeah.
If it's Alex Ferguson, then you've got the right to act like that because the trophies back it up. But if it's David Moyes and you are not winning any big away games, or you're not winning any derbies, or you're not making any tactical decisions that swing the game in your favour, then I think fans are not going to give you the benefit of the doubt a lot of the time when things go wrong.
Yeah, that makes sense. Other potential kind of I don't know if red flags is the word, but why appointing Moyes maybe is not the best idea.
I'll go back to what I mentioned earlier. I don't think we'll see Moise Keane kick a ball, hardly. David Moyes is not a manager who plays youth players unless he absolutely has to. The only time youth players got a look in under him last time was when the squad was so thin that he had to put them there just to make up spaces on the bench. He'd rather go with seasoned pros who are well past it than go with unproven kids. Now, I understand that to some extent. Maybe if you're in a relegation battle and you just have to scrap, then you are going to rely on people who you have a long relationship with, or people who you feel you know exactly what you can get out of them and what you can't. Whereas Moyes doesn't like individuals. He doesn't like free spirits. He doesn't like players who want to go out there and have it all to prove.
Yeah.
Type thing. So Moyes Keane, I don't see Moyes Keane playing at all. Hardly. I wouldn't be shocked if Moyes Keane were to go the way of Adam Ola-Luckman, where he gets so frustrated at not getting any game time, he kind of demands to go on loan. Because Moyes Keane, we've said this before. Thomas mentioned it last time. He's not going to sit around and wait to be told he's good enough by an Everton manager.
No.
If he's not getting his game time at Everton, he's going to pack his suitcase and go somewhere else, and he will get in another club somewhere that are a big name because he's got the agent and he's got the reputation.
That is not something I was expecting or even had thought about earlier, but I think that's a really fascinating point, and you're basing it on his track record, so that's fair.
Well, Ross Barkley hardly played under David Moyes. He was probably ready for the first team about 18 months before he got his breakthrough with Roberto Martinez.
Right.
I think he played less than a dozen times for Everton under David Moyes in the first team. Who else do we have? There's another name I'm trying to think of. Oh no, it's gone. I mean, there were other young players who did kind of break through under him, like Anachabi and players like that, and James Vaughan. They only got their breakthroughs because of circumstance.
Right.
If there was someone there, if we had another striker ahead of them, then he would not have played those players as much as he did.
Yeah.
Ross Barkley got palmed off to Leeds and was forgotten about basically until David Moyes left and Roberto Martinez came in.
Right.
And he brought in John Stones as well, but John Stones was not part of David Moyes' immediate plans when he brought him in. He was going to leave him in the youth teams, and who knows if we ever would have saw him. And there's other players who kind of got away as well, like Eric Dyer, Mustafi, I think João Silva. They're not great players, but they went to other teams and played a lot of games. They're players we could have made money on, but we could have brought them through, give them a few games, and then sold them on and made some money. But instead, we kind of just forgot about them. It's like Moyes didn't even take the time to even look to see what was there.
I'm under the impression that Moyes actually did pretty well on the transfer window. You know, bringing players in, he got a lot of bang for his buck, is what everyone has always told me. And it seems like a positive would be the fact that he probably worked pretty well in tandem with Marcel Brands in bringing in good bargain players that, very similar. I mean, the way things have gone the past few windows, for the most part, it's been pretty solid spending, especially from a few windows ago. So that's a good thing.
It's a good thing, but one thing I'll say is, if he's only going to be here short term, then I wouldn't want him buying any players for January.
And you know what? It may not be doing any. I have a feeling we're looking at loans in January anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't want another Allardyce where he's here for 6 months and he signs 2 players who we get lumbered with, and then we don't want them as soon as he's gone. If he brings in we've got Tosin and we've got Walcott, and they came in, and when Allardyce left, they kind of Tosin especially, they kind of lost all use because the new manager didn't play a system that suits them. So I don't want the new manager to have to come in and he's got Ronald Koeman's players, he's got Sam Allardyce's players, he's got Marco Silva's players, he's got David Moyes' players, and he's going to have to get his own.
Yeah. I think a lot of that will depend on if they're... See, the next thing, that feeds into another point. Appointing Moyes doesn't hint as much at the long-term plan, because appointing Moyes doesn't feel like a long-term plan in any way. It's not the choice that excites the supporters. It's a stale choice. I mentioned earlier he knows Everton, and he knows the Premier League, but the fact that he knows Everton so well means that Everton also knows him so well, and he does tend to have this little Everton mindset. He showed that when he left to United and sit there and put in these tiny little offers for Baines. It was like, look, they're Everton, they should accept it. I know how Everton works. He said that.
I went to the top 4 stadium. I went away to the top 4 teams, and I just looked to get out alive. That was his famous quote.
See?
He'd take us away to Liverpool or Arsenal and United, and he'd consider a point and absolutely brilliant results no matter what the circumstances. When there was a lot of times during his reign that we should have went to those stadiums and won.
Mm-hmm. I will say, though, I do think our record against the not top four, I think, would improve. Because
that's what I said earlier on, that the home form, especially the home form, will pick up. We will get enough points at home to be completely safe and have no reason to worry.
Because we've had trouble, like, cracking into some of these teams that bunker back. They sit there, they hang back, and we've had trouble cracking into it. I actually think that Moyes would do a little bit better against teams like Brighton. And, you know, a lot of those other teams where you're not fully sure if we're going to get a whole lot of clear looks on goal. You know? So that is a possible good thing. But it does come with that, like, we'll be doing the not in the face when we're playing against teams like Spurs and Liverpool, which...
We're not winning that FA Cup away at Anfield under Moyes. We're probably not winning it anyway, but you can completely forget about it if Moyes comes in. I'd worry that we probably could write off the League Cup if David Moyes comes in, even if we beat Leicester, because probably the biggest asterisk against David Moyes, the biggest criticism you could have of him is he doesn't win trophies. He seems to be allergic to winning trophies because he has had teams at Everton that were good enough to win trophies, and even in that 10 months he was at United, he got nowhere in the cups while he was there. So, and I really want to win that League Cup. I want to win any trophy, but that League Cup, that quarter final against Leicester is so massive. It's the biggest game of our season up until this point. And even if we were to win it, let's say we get City away in the semi-final, I just don't see us taking out a top 4 or 5 team with David Moyes as manager.
Yeah, it's weird right now, the state that we're in, because typically I get the vibe that they want a safe appointment, someone with Premier League experience. I get the vibe, but they also want the progressive thinker at the same time, which the safe appointment is probably not a progressive thinker. So it's like, okay, well, if we're not going to get that, then we'll probably end up we want to go Flash. You know? And to be honest with you, I'm really curious to see how this shakes out. And the fact that Moyes is just kind of waiting in the wings, like, just in case Ancelotti doesn't shape up, which it probably won't, let's be honest. But there's a chance. You're telling me there's a chance. Yeah. So there is a chance. What was all that 1 in a million talk? Yeah, you know? So there is a chance. But the idea, it doesn't feel like there was a plan. That's what bugs me. I look for plans. The fact that Everton makes plans. And when I don't see a plan in place, I just sit there and like, what have you been doing, guys? What has been going on? You know?
It's disgraceful, to be honest, considering that this exact same thing happened 2 years ago. Yeah. How did they not learn the lesson? Sacking a manager after a really bad defeat. Koeman went off the back of a 5-2 as well. It was the same score. He went off the back of a really heavy defeat, and the fans were really, really restless and really, really fearful that something terrible was going to happen. The dreaded R word. And the board basically felt like, look, this is untenable. We have to get rid of this guy now and just give it to a short-term guy for the interim. Well, there was no... It seemed like there was no shortlist drawn up before, like, weeks in advance. They should have been saying, right, this is on the edge now. If we have to sack this guy in 3 weeks' time, these are the guys we're going to call. Whereas it just seemed like it was pantomime, wasn't it? Sherry getting the train up from London, meeting Ken right there, Silva walking around the training ground for hours on end, not knowing what's going on. It's so reactive and not proactive, and that's just one thing that really bugs me about Everton.
Yeah, I want to back up some of the things that you had said earlier. You know, the fact that we want to make it clear. I don't think either one of us think that Moyes is finished as a manager. I don't think so. Paul, you said some respectful things earlier about Moyes, and I think if he were to take over, I could see some results happening. He's just not, you know, if I had a list, he's not the one where I'm thinking Yes. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I think he could come in and get some results. He could.
Yeah, I've heard people genuinely say if Moyes comes back, then I will stop going the game.
I've heard that too.
Now it's probably, you know, just hot air, people venting, but people saying things like if he comes back, it's one of the most embarrassing things we've ever done as a club. They're putting him in the same bracket as someone like a Mark Hughes or an Alan Pardew, and he's not in that bracket. I think he's not even in the same bracket as Allardyce.
Yeah.
In that sense, I still think Moyes, in the right circumstances, can do a really good job for probably a Premier League side. But if you're a Premier League side that wants what Everton wants, or what they should want, which is looking to break into the top 6 long term, he's just not that guy.
I want to get this situation straightened out, man. I'm ready to figure this out. Anything else on Moyes, man? I feel like we've been fair.
Yeah, I mean, he's not aged well, but considering what he's gone through, he's been sacked 3 times. He's lost the biggest job in football. He went to Spain where they wave white hankies at him and yells obscenities in a language he doesn't understand. He's been through the mill, hasn't he? It's not like he's been doing what Allardyce does and sitting off on a beach in between jobs, counting his money and eating prawns. I always get the impression with Moyes that he's that guy who is always he's always doing something football related, even if he's not working in football. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's that guy who just lives and breathes football. He's a guy who doesn't want to retire. He dreads retiring. All he knows is football, and that's all he wants. And it's the last few years, it seems to have finally took a toll on him. He's not that bright-eyed guy with a big head full of ginger hair and a big smile anymore, like he was back in the early 2000s when he first came. He's not Davy Moyes anymore. That's the thing. Davy Moyes. He's not Davy Moyes. He's just David Moyes now. Not Davy, the cheerful guy. He's just Dour David.
Dour David. That's sad. All right. Anyway.
Well, different David.
Yeah, I knew that one. I knew that one. For different reasons. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I think we've been, for the most part, pretty fair to Moyes here. I guess we'll see what happens, what Everton chooses to do. So that's it. But that's it for our Moyes segment. No idea if he's going to get appointed. We're not ITK. We are not the unicorns, right? Well, I can't speak for Paul. Maybe Paul is, and he's holding out. Just saying. In the meantime, if you're digging the videos, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. We really appreciate it. If you want more Paul, check on his Twitter. He'll tell you when and where he's going to be. He drops Everton knowledge on the Toffee Blues website often, so check that out. Yeah, and follow the Toffee Blues on Instagram, Facebook, and the Twitter. Paul, that's it. Our Paul. It's good to talk to you, man. Have a good one.
Talk to you, Gerry.
All right, and for Paul and myself, much love to everybody out there. Let's 3 points would be great this weekend. Let's do it. All right, bye.